All right, folks, we are back. And of course, you know my name. You know how this rolls for me. I am the Ruthless Wonder, not a Ruthless Wonder. You are listening to The Wrath of Ruthless. Or you might actually be watching The Wrath of Ruthless right there live on YouTube. Shout out to everybody who is dealing with our. Well, I can't. It's not unfortunate. It's a very important reason why we didn't have a show yesterday and are recording instead today on a Sunday, July 17th. July 16th is a very important day here in beautiful Grandview, Missouri. It is the birth of my mother. She turned 69 today. Yesterday, and so yesterday I spent most of the day doing stuff with her, and of course that meant no show yesterday. But I'm committed to making sure you hear what we have to say. So of course we drug everybody in here on a Sunday. I'm sure Devin is very upset, and we'll show it throughout the show. Um, but before we get to introducing her and of course some very interesting special guests, I want to really briefly talk about something that happened literally this morning. I wasn't expecting to talk about this initially, and you know, for me at least, from time to time, I am not exactly uh, considered happy with some of the things that go on in places I tend to frequent. This Sunday was a very odd uh, fall in line with that. Went to church this morning with mom. Early service, 7 o'clock. Got there about 7:15. Uh, there's a gentleman that comes in, sits down, kind of towards the front. Beard, so hashtag beard gang. Uh, and we get to the visitors. I've never seen this guy before, but I'm like, okay, well maybe he didn't want to, stand up. Maybe he's thinking of joining the church, so he's not going to do the visitor thing because he's not really sure. He's just kind of checking the place out. All right. So all the visitors have talked, said they're what church they belong to and all that stuff. We've done the official welcome to all the visitors. Then offering happens. And then he gets up, goes out, and is out of the sanctuary for a minute. And it's just like, what's going on here? Comes back in, sits down. I see some people moving about in the choir stand. Somebody seems to slip a message to the pastor. Uh, Meanwhile, we're getting ready for the sermon. We're nearing the point where he's going to give the sermon for the morning. And the pastor stops proceedings and says, hey, this guy, well, he didn't say this guy. Hey, I've just been informed that Deron Black, who's running for 24th District of Missouri, is here this morning, and we're going to give him a couple minutes here, 2 minutes, to speak real briefly. District 24, is that St. Louis? Is that Kansas City? It's like, all right, that's Kansas City. And as I said, we're going to let you talk. So he gets up to talk. And for 2 minutes, he gives a pretty standard politician speech and then goes to sit down. Now, if you want to get someone's vote and you have made it enough of a point to come to a church for Sunday morning service, I'm going to need you to respect the place you've walked into. I don't care what your personal religious, beliefs are. If you are not a Christian or if you're from another denomination, I have no problem with that. But here's the deal. All of the reason why he was talking for this 2 minutes in this time frame, instead of being properly recognized earlier in the service where it wouldn't disrupt the flow of service, is because he chose not to make that information known at the beginning. And that says to me two things. It says, one, you only came here because you recognize that the name, and I'm obviously, I don't have a problem saying my church's name, Palestine Missionary Baptist Church in Kansas City. Um, you recognize that showing up to Palestine was going to be something that you could say to other groups to get them to feel like you're a legitimate candidate. And two, it says to me that you didn't actually respect the place you walked into. Because a person who wants to talk would say, oh, hey, I know you all are doing service. Before service starts, I'm going to be here early. I just wanted to maybe talk for a couple minutes, let people know that I'll be in the hallway after service is over to kind of talk to folks, let them know how they're thinking and feeling. I just wanted to do that basic stuff. I don't want to impose or anything. And then they wouldn't let you talk. And I wouldn't have been on Facebook this morning from church, something I never do, doing a check-in that says the following about Duran Black. I've never seen the guy who woke up at my church, spoke at my church this morning. Gotta be election season. If you want votes, show up when it isn't election season. Otherwise, this is disgusting pandering. Hashtag never seen you before. Now, you know what the thing is on top of that? I found out who he was, obviously Duran Black. But I'm not the only person who called out his odd showing up the week before, 2 weeks before elections here in Kansas City, these primary elections. After he sat down, the pastor got up and said, I'm happy to have him come talk, and the reason it took a minute is that we didn't really have any information about you. You hadn't given us that beforehand. And a lot of politicians can say they want to reach out and talk to the community and work with folks, but a lot of them are silent after they get votes. We'll see if you're any different. Now, I was happy to hear that. And for any of you listening to the Wrath of Ruthless who end up talking to Duran Black, I want you to know, his politics don't affect me. I am outside of the voting corridor that he is running for. But this voice of mine tends to remind people of what's really going on. And in this particular case, I mean, I don't need an apology from this guy. I don't want an apology from this guy. But I hope that he treats the other churches that are inside the district that he is running for with more respect. I hope he treats people in general inside the district that he's running for with more respect than that. Because this has been a rash of politicians, and we'll get to this on Give No Quarter coming up this coming week. There has been a rash of politicians who have been on my bad side for doing things similar. Last year, around this time, there was a gentleman who was running for office in Grandview who, while I was packing up stuff in the garage, like cleaning the garage, packing up stuff in the garage, did not walk to the edge of my yard and say, hello, can I talk to you? Did not walk to the garage door and say, hello, can I talk to you? While I was facing the opposite direction, this guy walked in my garage, hey, can I talk to you for a few minutes about, no, you can't, get off my property. So, y'all gotta have a better game than this. Like, I know people who are doing bad things in life that have a far more respectful way of approaching, new business. This is crazy. So, that being said, you are listening to The Wrath of Ruthless. I have opened the show in a very angry fashion, but not with an angry voice, you'll notice. Because, like I said, I don't want or need an apology from this guy. I hope that he is more respectful for other people. Now, The Wrath of Ruthless is not a solo show. I don't do this thing on my own. I, of course, have, as always, my producer, Princess Devy. How you doing? Devy. Again, she still hasn't hit the unmute button. She's talking while she's muted. It's beautiful. She still hasn't unmuted.
I fucking hate this thing. Can you hear me now? Fucking I fucking hate this thing. I'm so mad. Oh, the anger, the angst. Oh, you happy birthday to your mother. That's the only reason you're getting away with a lot of things today. Happy birthday to your mother. Happy birthday, Mama Williams. We love you. I like you, your son, right now. But man, that happened this morning.
That happened this morning. And it's a crazy situation.
That's crazy. For the record, hi guys, I'm here. I'm stuffing my face. If you see me with food in my mouth, it's because I'm hungry. It's lunchtime in Devonland. And it's almost nap time, so I'm going to plow through this.
So,
and do my thing. But hey.
Now, this is a very interesting situation. This is only the second time that we have had some guests who are affiliated with something entirely separate from us onto the show. So I want to welcome two guests. They're a couple cool guys. Well, one of them's cool. The other one, yeah, he smacks his own headphones off his head all the time. But no, seriously, these two guys we've got coming on right now, great guys. They are from the Midnight Chat Attack over on doubletoasted.com. They, of course, do the Midnight Chat Attack on Saturdays, 7:30 p.m. until technically midnight. But I want to go ahead and bring them in right now. Fellas, introduce yourselves to the people.
Man, fuck you, Ruthless. That shit wasn't on purpose, and you know it. It was an accident. I slapped my headphones because I get into character. But people, no. My name is Anthony Wilson Jr. I am the, I guess, president of the Midnight Chat Attack over on doubletoasted.com. And here I'm joined by my other co-host, Ganja Guru.
Who we can't hear for some reason.
Who we can't hear.
Oh, I thought you were just ignoring me too. Hello, everybody. I'm Ganja Guru from Midnight Chat Attack, and I guess I'll be the Attorney General for it. I like to give myself a high place in power, so.
That works. That works.
Yeah.
The Attorney General of Midnight Chat Attack. Well, fellas, I want you guys to kind of tell folks what the show's like, what the show's about, real quick, because not everybody who watches The Wrath of Ruthless even knows about Double Toasted. I tend to have to remind folks of how awesome DT is. So tell us a bit more about the Midnight Chat Attack.
Well, do you want to take it away, Anthony? Because you're pretty much the one who concocted this motherfucker to start it anyway.
Yeah, I can tell. But yeah, for people that don't know, Double Toasted is a movie reviewing site, and pretty much they had this chat. And people come on there and watch these live shows, and I just took it upon myself, just like, man, this thing doesn't really have a sense of community, so why not I create this thing where pretty much we can have our own thing, like the Toasties, like Mr. Coleman, the guy that runs the site, he does something like Monday through Friday, but it's nothing on Saturday, something on Sunday, but nothing on Saturday. So I was just like, why not take Saturday to actually do something for the Toasties? Toasties can come together, actually feel like a community, and do whatever. We play games on there. We just talk about random topics, kind of like the Wrath Ruthless does on this show. And we just kind of shoot the shit and just see what's interest to us throughout the week. And you have a great time. Like, if you're watching this, and if you have nothing to do on Saturday, I really highly recommend you come and join us.
Man, we have great high quality content. We brought on all types of guests, Discord groups. One dude was Captain Jack Ferret. He was amazing. We talked about ferrets for 30 minutes. It was hilarious. Great content. Check it out. It's the Midnight Chat Attack YouTube page. So I think the ads are done for us now.
I think we done plugged ourselves enough. I think we're about to get electrocuted.
No, you guys are fine. I wanted to make sure that you guys had plenty of time to really, let folks know what's going on. Like, seriously, folks, you don't hear me endorse other people's stuff often. I will admit it to being very competitive like that. But, some of the best advice I've gotten about both Words Don't Do It Justice and, of course, this podcast, came from Corey and Martin when I went down there last December. Them and VSB really have been the two outside groups that really kind of kept me growing. And when I first got a chance to check out the Midnight Chat Attack, I was like, all right, this is fun. This is relaxing. I like talking to these guys. And every once in a while, they let me come on and say the ultra serious response to the question from time to time. So it's good to have you guys on board. You guys ready to deal with the problem that is this week's topic?
Oh, man, I've been ready. I did a little research on it. It was fun.
All right, so, Debbie, you can come on in back in as well. Well, she's probably munching on food. That's probably why she's muted. She said the most adorable thing earlier. She didn't say 12:30. She called it noon 30.
I hate you all.
It's adorable.
Dude, it was like 11 o'clock at night. And you're like, what are you doing? What can you be doing? Like, at noon 30, he just starts laughing hysterically at me. I'm like, what? I'm tired. My hair isn't even done all the way. I was twisting my hair. I'm going to whine and complain because Matt was making fun of me.
When an adult woman says noon 30, you're required to laugh at that. I'm just saying.
No, you're not.
So, yes, I am.
No. Why must you be so mean? Why must you be so cruel?
Why you gotta be so ruthless? Ruthless?
It's like, why do I have to be so ruthless? Right. So, what we're going to do is we're going to get into the topic. Now, some of you folks that are listening and are like 4 viewers, will know that we were kind of teasing this last week a bit as we came out of the serious stuff and into the last part topic. I want to talk about what happens when you become the thing that you hate. One of the big issues coming out of the shootings of Alton Sterling, Philando Castile, and the 5 officers in Dallas was this notion of, has the Black Lives Matter movement become so large that it's turning into the thing it dislikes the most about, people who say things like all lives matter. And I think I took that and I thought about it for a while, and I really came to this point where I was really thinking about, is that the future for every segment of society? And here's what I mean. I don't watch the show. I want to say this for the record, so I don't want you to think that I'm criticizing it from an internal place. I don't watch Steven Universe. However, of a lot of my friends who do, shout out to Geek Illuminati because I know they're big Steven Universe fans over there, they talk about how they can't go into certain groups to talk about Steven Universe because of the way the fans act. And I being somebody who's more Game of Thrones and Doctor Who related, and when it comes to fan communities, I was really like, what do you mean there's problems? And they told me this story, and Ganja, I know we talked about before the show started about this particular story.
It's kind of fucked up, by the way.
It's extremely so. A young girl was drawing a lot of the characters from the show, and she drew Rose Quartz, who was one of the not necessarily main characters. She's the reason the show exists. Essentially, she's the mom of the main character, Steven. And she drew her thinner than she appears on the show, and apparently thinner than they approved of in the fan community. And this young girl, and I say girl because she is not an adult. This is a child. They constantly, berated her and insulted her to the point where she attempted suicide. And you would think, okay, well, that happened and it was over. People on the internet pushed things too far. No. When it was found that she was recovering from the suicide attempt in the hospital, they continued to insult and bully her to the point where she's removed a lot of her websites. She removed the photos. She had even apologized to these people in hopes that they would leave her alone. And they were doing it all in the name of inclusion. Their issue was that by making this character in her personal drawings that she shared thinner, she was shaming full-figured women in doing so. In the same fan community, there are people who have a problem with non-black women cosplaying as oh crap! I've just forgotten the character's name. They are going to Tumblr is coming for me right now.
Is it Garnet or Amethyst?
Oh no, it's Garnet.
It's Garnet. Yeah, they were saying that unless you're a black woman, you can't cosplay as Garnet. And this happens over and over again inside this community. There are people who are ostracized for being men who like to draw Rose because the male gaze shouldn't be making a female character. It's Tumblr in general tends to sometimes eat itself. This is a savagery that I have not seen in other things. So I open up for the 4 of us to talk about here this notion of becoming the thing that you hate? And do you feel like at best, unless you stop with a certain point of success, unless you choose our goal is this thing and then we're finished, do you feel like all groups are kind of destined to turn in on itself and become that toxic nature? So if you want to react to the Steven Universe thing.
Wait, who want to go first? Because I'm about to go off.
Well, as somebody who is a part of a different fan community that's also on Tumblr, I'm going to let Devin go first on this one.
Okay. I am on Tumblr. I just got sucked in not too long ago. And I have my own fandom, and I have to check myself. I saw some cute art, just this little draft somebody asked, and then the artist said, "Oh, this is what they were role playing as this character." I'm like, this is adorable. And so I go to where I saw that it was originally reblogged from, and this person did not like the side of the fandom that I'm in. And I'm like, Devin, stop. Do not do this. This is not a personal slight against you. They don't like it. They don't have to like it. And when I saw what they did like, I'm like, you know what? Go ahead, rock your side, do your thing. But they were like, I loathe this. I'm like, okay, see, that's where I have a problem. It's one thing not to like it. It's one thing to say I'm going to be against it and I don't want to see it. That's you. That child. You're an adult. I'm going to need you to step back for 5 seconds and let that child express herself through her art. Just because she drew Rose Center does not mean that she hates fat people or overweight, whatever it is that these fans were saying that she was against. She's just an artist trying to express herself, and as a young artist, it's going to take her some time. I have friends who are artists, and they're like, this is what I drew when I was 14. This is what I'm drawing at 25. I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of growth in there. Let the child work her way through her growth process and encourage her. Don't end up, if you're turning around as an adult, as a parent, if I find out an adult is sitting up here harassing my child, you're going to see a whole new, there's a dark side to me that very few people have seen that scares the snot out of me. But I'm coming for you. Leave the children, let people have their fun, let them do their thing. To say that I can't do something because I don't fit your paradigm, it's going to make me want to do it bigger and better than you've ever seen before. And people are going to love it. And you're going to sit up here and be sad in your own snot because of how you feel. Check yourself. Because that's how people, literally, check yourself for yourself. That's how people are. Take a step back. Calm the heck down. There's no need to get all riled up over essentially a cartoon. Please, for the love of God, it's a cartoon. Let it go.
Yeah, really quick. Devin brings a good point. I want a quick thanks to Revanchist Gaming, which is, of course, our buddy Chris Hines, who always likes to shy away from not coming into the call for some reason. But I wanted to quickly share this. Like, when I talk about the issues of, like I said, the Steven Universe fandom, this is literally something that's gone around on Tumblr from Steven Universe.
Damn, they got like a 10 Commandments. Holy shit.
Yeah. Rules for the folks listening to this on SoundCloud, rules for Steven Universe cosplay. If you're cis, don't play Stevani. I don't know who that is. They are non-binary.
Stephen Connie.
Oh, okay. So cis people, hands off. If you're skinny, don't cosplay Rose or Amethyst. They are both fat characters, and good, non-ridiculing representation is hard to find. If you're AFAB, don't cosplay Jasper. She's coded as AMAB trans. Just leave her alone, please. Above all, don't hypersexualize whatever character you play. Doing so alienates the younger fan base that SU was actually meant for. Keep your Steven Galaxy shit out of the public sector.
Wow.
There are others concerning Garnet, Pearl, and other racially coded characters, but that's not my place to speak on. Others may add to the list or fill in these. Cosplaying Steven Universe, follow the rules, cis scum.
I imagine
what?
This is like,
actually, I saw that.
Gotcha, go ahead.
No, I was saying I imagine like this is what's like Lost Pages of Mein Kampf look like.
Yeah, I mean, they might as well that extremely bothers me, and we're gonna let you hear in just a second. This idea that like you love something so much, you've become the exclusive monster that you talk about everybody else, for you liking it in the first place. But before I go deeper into this topic, Ant, go ahead and come on in, man.
Oh my God! Like, yeah, that's the perfect way to sum this up. Let's just say, like, fan bases are just the worst, man. Just fandoms, man. They're just terrible, man. Like, for example, anime and the Sonic fan bases are like some of the worst. Like, God damn it, they make you really don't want to do it no more. But yeah, what they're doing to this child is just like no excuse, which is kind of funny because isn't Steven Universe about tolerance and about loving everyone? Like these different sons of different peoples of different walks of life can create a family.
Anthony, the only reason I ever heard of it was because I guess they're the first cartoon to do LGBT characters.
Yeah, like, and that's like really progressive in this time.
Characters, they're very body positive characters as well. Like they really have made it a point to really be inclusive of everyone, and their fans just seem to be like horrifying monsters. I have no other way of saying it, but horrifying monsters. Of course, Anthony, we have to be careful with you because you might like Attack on Titan. I don't know if I'm all right with you.
No. I never even seen the anime.
Shun the AOT people. Shun them all. No.
I haven't seen Attack on Titan, though. But yeah, no, fan base is pretty worse with that. But I think everybody came together when it was just like, oh yeah, that live action Attack on Titan movie, that's fucking terrible. But getting back to the point, it's kind of like what actually, going back to Corey Coleman from Double Toaster said, he's saying, when you get this classist-like behavior, this classist-like mentality, your team versus my team, that's when you actually become ruthless, what you said, the very thing that you hate. It's just like to the point where you want your team to win so bad that you just start disregarding everything else. Even when these groups are formed from, tolerance and everything else. It's like the Black Lives Matters. Like, you guys have a point, but when you try to shove it so far down people's throats, you kind of miss your whole point of being created in the first place. It's just like, why do you even do that? And I hate to bring it back to the Midnight Jet Attack, but it's kind of like the same thing, the same mentality they have with the Midnight Jet Attack. It's like the news stories that we bring on, because we're always talking about the media, always forcing down the negative. Pokemon Go is bad. This is bad. People shooting. But even on there, we try to be like, hey, let's not try to be like the media either. Let's try to, make everything positive and stuff like that. But yeah, like, god damn it. People miss the point. Like, the class is like mentality. That's probably going to fucking ruin us. Jesus Christ. But go ahead, Ruthless.
Yeah, to kind of, come out of that and kind of, transition a little bit into the next, piece of this I wanted to talk about. The idea of fan communities really came out of this notion that there are people who were ostracized for the things that they loved. I can remember as a kid, everybody who liked G.I. Joe didn't necessarily like Transformers. And everybody who liked Transformers didn't necessarily like, GoBots. We'll go with GoBots for now. Like, it was like, okay, yeah, cool, I like this thing, I like that thing. But there were kids who were deeply into comic books, into video games, oddly enough. And that separated you from people. But it gave you your own kind of group to be okay with. And now we've got to the point where if you like a show, if you like a game, if you like a movie, if you like a cartoon, you can find a million other people who like that same thing and just talk to them. And it turns into this very weird, the Ouroboros, it's the snake that eats its own tail. It turns into that because you start deciding who is the most correct fan. The No True Scotsman defense on steroids. No real Steven Universe fan would ever be intolerant. That's not true. Clearly, these are Steven Universe fans. They're big enough fans that they've created a community on Tumblr. They make art for this stuff. And just because they don't agree with your particular way of drawing, maybe because they don't have the skill to draw like you want them to draw, maybe because they just wanted to picture themselves as the character. Like, suddenly that becomes the litmus test for as to whether or not they're a real fan, and then you just proceed to eat them. And that's the thing that's happening here. I had thought that we were kind of done with these horrifying internal struggles. And then I started thinking about, again, the genesis for the show and the Black Lives Matter folks. Recently, with the police officers in Dallas being killed, we know that the man who shot those officers and killed them was both anti-police and anti-Black Lives Matter. Basically because he said Black Lives Matter didn't go far enough. I can't help but notice that the place that BLM is in is the same place that Anonymous finds itself in most of the time. And you guys can, obviously recognize that. Anonymous constantly has to struggle between the people who are claiming to be doing this on behalf of Anonymous, who do silly stuff like shut down the PSN network or put horse porn up on the Westboro Baptist Church site, like stuff that's not really done for any positive purpose, just meant to troll someone, and the portion of Anonymous that is hunting through websites, chat forums, and online games for pedophiles to turn those names over to Interpol. At some point, these groups, no matter what the group is for, the purpose begins to splinter or entirely split, and you start having people who might be working against the original purpose. I think that's where we get a lot of the issues we deal with. I wanted to take that from, like I said, the what would seem like light fan community thing to, like I said, the much heavier, real world ideological divides, and put it up against something I know that's in you two's wheelhouse. So you guys can talk first, and we'll go with Anthony first since Ganja talked first the last time. Ghostbusters, the movie that just came out. One of the things that has constantly been an issue is that fans, obviously, were saying that they didn't want this movie to be made because it was disrespectful to Harold Ramis, who had died. It was disrespectful to the original movies, which everybody loves, and their detractors were often saying, "Well, you hate women. You're mad because it's a movie made about women instead." But I want to put this question to you guys. Is it entirely possible that all of it's true? That both it's the people who are anti-feminism that have a problem with this movie, but also feminists have a problem with this movie but won't say anything about its quality because they are so deeply entrenched in defending it in the same way that sexists defend patriarchy?
Nah, because it's no reason, no matter how you try to defend it or try to rationalize it, it's no point to actually just completely block off another group. Just say this group can't do that. That's the very reason why we have racism in this country, because it's that's the very reason why those people got shot. Those two African American guys got shot because they can't do this. They can't have weapons. If they're in this type of area, that means they're trouble. It's no way to rationalize it. And the feminist part, the girl part, has nothing to do with the quality of the movie. Granted, the same director, didn't he direct Bridesmaids? Was pretty much was an entire female cast, and people say it was one of the better comedies of that year, right? If I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. So it has nothing to do with female or anything, male or female. And Corey Coleman said it best. I'm going to be quoting him a lot during the show. But he was just basically saying, y'all so mad that vaginas are this, that y'all want more dicks? Men's are asking for this? Were y'all gay or something? No offense to gay people. That's good. No, but it's just what? It doesn't make any sense.
Andre, go for it.
My opinion with the movie, I think for the beginning when the first showed off that they were making an all-females Ghostbusters, I think most people that came out against it were probably those, male rights. Oh, don't change my Ghostbusters this. But I think after the trailer came out and we saw how weak of a trailer and how much weak the material was, I think the anger grew more. So it became an excuse for the people who made the movies to say, "Oh no, they're just hated, man. They're just hated. They don't like that a female cast," and they use that as an excuse to get women riled up to protect the movie when they should be lambasting it too, because this is a cash grab for them. It's an assault to them, if anything.
Exactly.
Well, and I guess that's really my question to you guys. Do you think that this is another situation where we have a group, an ideological group, who is becoming is acting in the fashion of the people they're against? You have, and I think almost rightly so, Leslie Jones got onto The View right before the movie came out to talk about how she was just glad to be able to do what Whoopi Goldberg did for her for some young girl who sees Ghostbusters, and that she really did the movie because she felt like little girls should have the same hero, which is a laudable thing. I applaud that. I'm very much for that. But the people who are defending the film and saying, anybody who doesn't like this movie doesn't like it because they're sexist, Movie Bob. I don't know where that came from.
That sounded deep.
Yeah, just really down in there. Movie Bob, man, are saying it because they want people to feel like I have to like this movie or else I'm a sexist. But isn't that the tactic of people who are sexist? Isn't the shaming tactic of those people? Do you feel like that's something that, as a group, they should shy away from and try to let the movie sink or swim on its own merits? Or do you feel like they kind of have to take a stand, draw their line in the sand and take a stand right here, because if they don't, other movies won't happen?
Well, I think it's kind of a double-edged sword because you are, like, I had to say, like, we had, I think it was with Johnny Depp for The Last Rider, and I got a huge argument with my Native American friends about it because they were saying, oh, well, he's just portraying Native Americans in a positive light. He's still, he's one of the main leads in the movie. But they don't realize that there's a bunch of talented Native American actors in Hollywood that will not get picked for that role just because Johnny Depp's a bigger name. But then again, you do see a Native American in a positive role even though it's not being played by a Native American. So it's kind of a double-edged sword with that idea.
It's kind of like a double-edged sword because when you really think about it, it's just like when you try to get your point across so bad that you're using your own argument against you, your point is no longer valid. Like, if you don't like this movie, you're a sexist. No, like I said, it has nothing to do with that. Just completely disregard. Like, we could say take those female leads out of the movie and probably put some other actors, mix it up if you want to. And with the exact same writers, it probably would be the same movie.
Anthony, you want to get real serious? Make it a Marlon Wayne production. Let's see how.
Oh, right, exactly.
No. Though it is really interesting. The writer for Ghostbusters is the same writer for the movie The Heat.
Oh, yeah. And that should see a lot.
Man, I forgot who I was watching. I was watching somebody else's review of the movie, and they were saying they think that one of the problems with the film was the director for The Heat doesn't have the love of that genre and didn't really know it well enough to do the traditional, buddy cop film things that would have made it work well, and that's where that movie falls apart. And then for Ghostbusters, she doesn't have the same love and understanding of Ghostbusters to do the needed conventions for Ghostbusters, and that's why this movie falls apart. Like, without ruining it, there's a rule that everybody knows from Ghostbusters that's as old as the very first movie that everyone knows is bad that doesn't exist in this movie. I won't ruin the movie and say what it is. But, Devin, you got any thoughts on this before we move on, Devin?
I have no thoughts on this simply because I haven't seen it yet. And I'm going to reserve my thoughts until after I see the movie. I will say this.
And we just lost your internet. Every once in a while, her internet just breaks.
Ruthless, hold on. I'm getting very inspired by her speech right now.
Devin, when we get you back, we'll get your thoughts again in this next section. I want to, because, oh man, we're doing actually pretty good on time here. What I wanted to kind of move this to is something very, we're gonna tie like 3 episodes together here. So we're tying the Ruthless on Relationships episode that we did through with last week's episode, and bring it to this. In relationships, the problems you had, the pain you've endured from breakups, the arguments you've had with significant others, do we, again, give your personal feelings and we'll kind of talk about it from there, do you feel like you start to do some of the things that you said you wouldn't, and is that turning you into the person you didn't want to be? Again, making you the monster that you originally hated. And I was going to go Devin first, but since Devin's unavailable until our internet fixes itself, we'll go with you, Ann. Go for it.
Well, I have like little experience in this because I haven't really dated too often, but I'm really curious. I'm really curious to see what Gandra thinks. He has more experience. He's actually been telling me stories. So Gandra, you actually go take this, man, because I have no clue.
Well, with me, I was already the kind of the person I hated in order to date this girl. So I was already kind of living that lie, and one of the things that I did benefit from breaking up with her was I got to see my real personality come out, and I started to change my own lifestyle. Like after I kind of broke with her, it was kind of the breakup with the lifestyle that I was living at the time as well. So I got to see everything in my neighborhood through different lens and a perspective. So that kind of what drove me to move out of Florida into Colorado a lot faster. Get my GED, get out the neighborhood, change for the better, was because of that breakup. And I was kind of hostile towards her and also the neighborhood that, we grew up in. So that motivated me to get out. So I've been on both sides. Been the person you see to hate, and then been the person to change and see, all right, I'm starting to show my real personality. I'm starting to bloom my own way.
That's interesting. The negative experience made you stop being the person that you definitely didn't want to be to become the person that you wanted to be. So a complete reverse, really.
And not only that, I hate to joke about it. Like after I broke up with her, our thing was like a lot of gangster hip hop and stuff like that. So I started turning away from that because a lot of the songs we used to listen to together, so it bring back mad memories. And I started leaning towards more into conscious hip hop, Moral Technique, Mos Def, and all those guys. And that, like, when you listen to conscious hip hop and you're living the other side of the lifestyle they're constantly criticizing, it's kind of hard to do both. So that really motivated me to change my life as well.
Speaking of conscious hip hop, I want to shout out to 2 of our. They're not super fans. They didn't come on board until we opened the Justice League. But quick shout out to Hugo Biggs and Conscious Leo. They dropped an amazing freestyle following Alton Sterling and Philando Castile's deaths. And honestly, guys, go check out their track. They did a collab together. I didn't think it was ever going to happen. They're two really good friends of mine. Check them out on Facebook.
I was actually going to ask you after the show, make sure to send me a link because I'm actually a big music head, so I really appreciate that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, Roy, Hugo Biggs, and Conscious Leo. And I will not give out their personal Facebook pages because they would hate me for sending all these people to them. But go ahead, Devin. Is your internet working? Are you back? Still no Devin.
Devin, we usually deal with this problem on the Midnight Chat Tech. Try leaving and coming back and see if that fixes the problem.
Yeah. Come in, start command.
Literally just fully exit and then come back in. There you go. All right, so the thing that got me thinking about this was, honestly, this relationship portion of it was myself. I can remember I constantly, when we talk about relationships, talk about the difference between who I was versus who I became. And I've always had the same very bright rule that I do not cross, and that's cheating. If I feel like I would want to cheat in a relationship, I would get out of that relationship. I never have felt like cheating. I feel like that's the worst thing to do. And other than that, I'm really very malleable when it comes to relationships. I can deal with a lot of stuff. But I can also see how even I have gone down this sort of jaded line between being a far more nice guy who happens to have a couple edges to him to this far more ruthless figure who happens to do a couple nice things here and there. But Devin's back, so we're going to go to her first. Devin?
Hey! I don't know what happened. I've been here. Okay. Becoming the person I hate. I did. It hurt. It was sad. But I managed to get out of it. It's called a divorce. It just, not only did I saw my ex turn into somebody I didn't know and understand anymore, and just, how can I put this without putting too much out there? What would be a good idea is when you start saying things and then you're trying to justify it. Like, I've grown up, I've changed. Nah, sweetheart, you're doing certain things to keep in line with stuff that you think you should love or be involved in, when in reality it would be a good idea if you broke away from it and walked away and regrouped and then came back in. Like I just did. Apparently I had to leave the chat and then come back in. Okay, now things are better, even though I've been here the entire time. It's really weird. That's just my personal take on it. I had to step back, and some people have asked me, why aren't you dating again? Why aren't you doing this again? Because I need to regroup. I need to do some things for myself so I do not turn down this path where I'm doing and saying things that I know I should not be doing and saying because it's going to hurt me. And we hurt ourselves the most. I don't like hurting myself, so I'm not going to do it anymore. And I gotta walk away. Stop taking things personally. Just as you're not in my fandom, even though we're overall a part of the same fandom, just because you don't ship what I ship, it's okay. It's okay. Walk away. It's not about me.
But, and Devin, I'll challenge you on that. Do you feel like this need to reject these feelings and emotions has made it more difficult for you to recognize? Oh, that's a bad way to put that. Do you feel like saying, okay, I'm not going to feel this way about things, do you feel like that makes you less able to really get into whatever it is? Like you mentioned, obviously the fandom piece, but even in your relationships and this idea of going back to dating, do you feel like you're a little bit more jaded because you're choosing to not become a certain kind of person about it?
Yeah. In a heartbeat. I become jaded about a lot of things, and that's one of them where, like, I don't want to date. How can I put this? I try to tell myself I'm not going to date these within this group of people because I've already been down that path, and most people would think, oh, you're not going to do that again. I'm like, no, I'll do it again. It was this guy that hurt me, and it was the way our relationship fell apart that hurt me. It's not this group of people. It was my interactions between me and that one person. But at the same time, I can look and go, you know what? I don't want to be over there no more. You don't seem to be very nice to me. And so I'm between kind of a rock and a hard place. Do I keep my options open, or do I just say, no, I'm going to go this route instead because I was hurt over here? This is why I'm in therapy. It's a very delicate tightrope to walk, and I'm doing it in stilettos.
That's an interesting way to put it. So that's really our really big topic for today. What I wanted to do, and this, of course, to get you guys, this is the part where we get into the reactions. And no, folks, I'm already getting Facebook messages right now, just so you guys know. I'm already getting Facebook messages of, is this going to be another 3-hour show? No, it's not. That's not how the show usually goes. But I wanted to kind of get you guys' reaction to a couple of events that are going on. Recently, Black Lives Matter has gotten to closing off stretches of highway in protest. and it actually seems to be very effective. I mean, St. Louis. Chris just messaged, is it going to be 3 hours? That they've closed off a number of different highways. Recently, it seems like today and Saturday, they've done 40 highway in St. Louis, which is about 3 or 4 hours from where I am. And of course, they did that in Dallas. They've done it in Memphis and Atlanta. I've actually had friends at both of those. And it seems to be that their new tactics is to really ratchet up their protest to another angle. Do you see this this blocking of traffic and taking much more confrontational to the public approach being something that eventually tips over into, I won't say violence, but necessarily a more vocal disapproval of their tactics? Or do you think that this is the thing that gets them a much more legitimate look? Anthony, go for
it. That's the thing. Like, Black Lives Matter. Like, the problem they want to solve is not going to be solved with stopping traffic. Like, it's all like they talked about it on the Casual Calling Show on Double Toasted. The problem they're trying to solve is basically changing the perception of how African Americans look in this country, and that's something that you got to dig right in the roots. Something that you got to go back, like redo the teachings of everything, and that requires you to go like in every household of America. And let's be honest, as much as we want it to change, that type of problem is not going to be solved overnight, if it can ever be changed. Because humans, as mammals, we're always going to have this classes-like behavior. So yeah, to go back to the question, Ruthless, stopping traffic, this new tactic that they're trying to do, it's not going to solve the problem in the wrong one. It's just going to hurt more people. So, that's my take on it, anyway.
Gotcha, go for it.
I kind of agree with Anthony. I just think it's a stupid tactic. You're impeding the citizens you're trying to turn over to your side, which is just going to make them agitated and angry towards you. I don't understand how that's going to be a fruitful protest. I understand you're trying to shut down the highway to stop, people from using it, such as law enforcement, but you're also stopping emergency vehicles. And every time someone accidentally dies doing that, that's one more point on the All Lives Matter team for the other side to use an opposition against you. Me personally, I had to bring my Native American history again into it, but what we would do was occupy government buildings that were actually used by the government, and I think that's what Black Lives Matter should move into. Occupy the government buildings like the governor's house, the police stations that actually do the killing, like the ones in Baton Rouge, Ferguson. You need to occupy these actual government buildings because these are the actual people that you need to fight against, not the citizens.
Well, and honestly, that's one of the things that concerns me, is that when your tactics become so far removed from your point, you start to lose things. Now, in contrast to that, Killer Mike, one of my favorite rappers, recently was thanked by a very well-known, but God, at this point they've got to be close to 100 years old, if not over that, bank in Atlanta that was basically just a bank for black people. Like that couldn't get accounts at other banks because they were black. Because he was telling people to move their money over to black-owned banks. That's impact. I actually like your idea, Gaja, of saying let's take over these government buildings, because Black Lives Matter, according to their own website, is dealing with the issues of government, aka systemic and institutional racism, specifically that of the police. So go sit in at police stations.
I still don't think that's going to work. I really don't.
But if you're going to take a tactic, don't just go take a tactic because it could bring attention. Do something that goes along with your point.
And you don't have to occupy a building violently. It was done in the 70s and 60s where they would take over buildings and not have no arms or any guns or firearms whatsoever out there.
That's what they was doing in Dallas before the fucking dude started shooting people.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's the problem. You got to make sure to separate the violent from the peaceful.
Yeah. I mean, and another thing is, I mean, the reason why you had sit-ins at lunch counters was because black people couldn't sit and eat at lunch counters. The reason why you had a bus boycott was because black people were not allowed to ride the bus and sit in the front. These were things that were very specific to what kind of change they were getting. If you want policing in America to be changed, then you need to move your protest to specifically deal with the police who you want to have their policies changed. I'm not saying that a highway block off isn't a bad idea. Lord knows those were done in the 60s as well during the Civil Rights Movement. But it's something that your focus needs to be on what you're going for. And, oh man, we did doing a great time. I want to wrap up with one thing that's just a tad bit lighter. Just a tad bit. Not too much, unfortunately. Hold on. There we go. And sorry about that. So I was rolling through just kind of articles I want to deal with, stuff I want to pick up, things to do for our other big show, Give No Quarter. And I ran across a very awesome movie poster. And I want to get you all reaction to it. I don't know if you guys have seen it. If you have, hey, you get to tell your thoughts. I want you guys to take a look at this and tell me what you think about this particular poster. I'm trying to get it pulled up so everybody can see it properly. So, there we go. And open. All right, so what I'm showing you is the new poster for Nate Parker's Birth of a Nation. Now, the film's done. Film's finished. The film's finished. It was purchased by Searchlight and Fox Searchlight, and it will be out here in I believe it's a few months. So that's his very first poster for the film. Devin, since you had to your internet break on us, go ahead and give your thoughts before your internet breaks again.
Whoa. Whoa. I have not seen this. Wow.
For those that don't know the story about Birth of a Nation, the original film Birth of a Nation is where you get a lot of the long-standing stereotypes like the eating of watermelon and the kidnapping of white women that was used in caricatures of black people in America really throughout the modern era, including when this film comes out at the turn of the century. Nate Parker decided to name his film The Birth of a Nation the way he did because he wanted to take away from that film's place in the overall pantheon of film, but also to tell a story essentially that runs almost exactly counter to it. And that, of course, is the story of Nat Turner's Rebellion. Nat Turner was somewhat of a preacher, also was a slave, and revolted against his masters, and leads literally the largest slave revolt in U.S. history. I won't tell you too much more. I want you to go hop on the internet and go research. But this is his film that he's done. Sold for, I believe, $17 million to Fox Searchlight. Might be more than that. But he turned down Netflix to make sure it got into theaters. And this is literally the very first image we got to see from the film. There is, of course, a trailer that's been out from before the film went to festivals. This is the first film poster for it. And apparently this is the film poster. So, Anthony, what you think?
Bravo, fucking hell. Bravo, man. It's just like, because this ties right into, it was a topic that I had brought up on the Midnight Chat Attack not too long ago, but it was basically saying how the American dream is flawed and then it kind of tied into how American patriotism is a lie, and like we only celebrate 4th of July because the fucking calendar tells us to. But that patriotic, all this bullshit that this country is built on, it never was for us. It was never for Indians. It was never for African American people. It was for the people that got fucking stole the land in the beginning. So bravo with that poster.
Yeah. Gotcha. Thoughts?
Ah, shit, man, I can't wait for it to come out. I agree with Anthony, except you forgot it wasn't here for the poor white people either, man. You only wear a landowner you can vote in the beginning.
Yeah.
Exactly. That is symbolism for saying that we are all getting choked by our own patriotism. It kind of ties back into the whole overarching theme of the episode, the podcast, Ruthless, how America has now become the enemy that it didn't even want to be.
Oh, so you mean you caught the thing that I was doing, tying all this stuff together to make this amazing episode? Thanks. So, of course, guys, we are basically done here. Like I said, we are back to our normal show format of an hour. It's good to kind of be back to normal. It was like I don't even know how to explain this, but unfortunately, sometimes we get really giant stories that need to be covered in full. And sometimes that just takes 2 hours to talk about.
We understand you're playing Ruthless, man. We used to do a 5-hour show in the beginning.
Yeah, so it's good to be back to my normal format. I do want to give some shout outs though. First and foremost, another shout out to my brother Chris Williams. I know that heart's coming soon, and that you will be fine. I got to finally get a chance to get over to really hang out with him for a little bit at the end of last week, beginning of this week, and it was good to see him in good spirits. He's a trooper. He's also tall, and I'm not tall, but whatever. From your baby brother, love you, bro. Also to Jessica Thomas, happy 30th. Teresa. Want to say happy birthday to you as well. I can't remember what year she's turning this year. To Words Don't Do It Justice founder, Roddy P. Please go bug him on his Facebook, Gerard Betsy. It is his 28th birthday. Please bug him to death when you see this. And, of course, I also want to say, speedy recovery to my 2 friends who are currently dealing with some health issues. I won't say their names. They know who they are. I told them I'll shut them out today. So I want to give you guys one last time to kind of talk about in pub the Midnight Chat Attack, and then we'll get on out of here.
Ready, Anthony? You want to do it, or you want me to do it?
I'm still looking at this damn poster. I'm like, fuck yes.
He's about to join the new Black Panthers.
Yeah, for real. That makes me want to be like, where's Black Lives Matters? I'm about to join. Hell yeah, let's go. Fuck yes, though. But yeah, people. Yes, make sure to tune into the Midnight Chat Attack every Saturday night, 7:30 CST. Ain't that right, Gotcha?
Of course. And not only that, we tend to do a midweek podcast as well. So make sure to check that out. That's either between Monday to Thursday. We always try to get that on Friday for you good people. And make sure to come by, check out the Midnight Chat Attack, our biggest thing is community. Like we always have Ruthless on, but you don't have to be a famous podcaster to join us either. Just be a regular viewer, so just come on up. Anthony, you want to finish this?
Yeah, exactly. You could be pretty much of a crack addict. We don't blame.
Only if you have good stories, though.
Exactly. We're unlike the Steven Universe fan base. Hey, come on. We will get that girl, the one that they bully. We will bring her on, and it'll be like, there. There's nothing to be ashamed about. But Ruthless, how old is your mom turning? You said 60.
69. She turned 69 today.
69. Well, so Craig, I wanted to say congratulations to her too. Happy birthday to her, because in this day and age, making it to that's truly a blessing. Like 69, you got most of these actors passing away like at 60, and my grandma just recently passed away this year at 63. So that's truly a blessing.
Yeah, I keep telling her she's going to be around a long time. My grandfather is, I want to say, 95 or 96 this year.
Jesus.
Yeah, so like, I have uncles who were still working like at 67, 68. So, they're.
Wow.
So Ruthless, she'll get long enough to see Donald Trump become president. That'll be amazing for her.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's alright. Hey, they got to see Obama.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
It works out. So, folks, be sure to check them out over at the Midnight Chat Attack over on Double Toasted. Go check out Double Toasted in general. Like, they are a great fan-based podcast, live show. But in general, Double Toasted has great content. Well, now, folks, you guys do know we have upcoming movies you didn't know you needed, and of course, all kinds of changes going on over at Weekend Life since we've shut down the blog at Words Don't Do It Justice. But I'm telling you, like, we're not done here. There's more stuff coming. Give No Quarter, remember, comes up this coming week. We're going to try and get Kara in. She is in London, not for Brexit. She's in London for a study abroad program. So we'll try and get her in for kind of a brief one-on-one with her and I during the week at some point. But you will see me and Bailey live probably Saturday after we get done with next week's The Wrath of Ruthless, but definitely at some point next weekend with Give No Quarter. So look out for that. Can I tell them about the big secret? I don't think I can tell about the big secret yet. We'll get to that. I will be in Austin, Texas, with these two gentlemen for the Double Toasted second year anniversary, August 10th through I think actually I come back on the 16th, so I'll be out there just shy of a week with them coming up in August. So if you're anywhere near Austin, give me a shout, and I'll at least come have a drink with you, much less have a meal with you. So take care, folks. For Devin, for Chris Hines and Revanchist Gaming, for, of course, Van Davius, a.k.a. The Vantinal, STL Solo, 314 Publishing, Imperial Dreams Productions, Words Don't Do It Justice, Weekends Don't Do It Justice, over at WKNDLife.com. And for movies you didn't know you needed, Stream Life, and of course, the greatest podcast on the planet, The Wrath of Ruthless. I am The Ruthless Wonder, not A Ruthless Wonder, and we will see you next time.